I walked into that bar knowing exactly what I was about to do. Not because I wanted to humiliate my son, but because I had just seen the tears in my daughter-in-law's eyes. The kind of tears that don't spill from one bad night. They're the quiet kind. The kind that build behind closed doors, in silence, over years of being unseen. She called me just an hour earlier, voice cracking. She said the spa weekend we'd all planned for her birthday, the one my sister, her girlfriend, and I scraped our savings together to gift her, was off. My son had decided at the last minute to cancel everything. His old college buddy was in town, and apparently that took priority. She didn't cry for attention. She cried from exhaustion. So I asked where he was. She hesitated, then whispered, "He's at the bar." And I told her gently to pack her things, take a friend, and go anyway. I'd take the kids. My sister and her partner would help, and I'd give her 500 euros from my own account so she could buy herself something beautiful, something just for her. Because it was her birthday. Because she deserved at least that. And because at 60 years old, I have learned, if no one steps in when someone's sinking, the silence becomes complicity. I wasn't always this confrontational, but when a mother sees a pattern repeating, especially when her own hands tried to prevent, there comes a time you stop being polite and start being loud. You see, my son had painted our marriage as some sort of fantasy. He told his wife I had been a joyful stay-at-home mom, that my husband and I lived in some idyllic harmony where the wife gave up everything to raise the children and the husband provided. What he didn't tell her was the full truth, that in our marriage, every morning before 9 a.m. and every evening after 5 p.m., all responsibilities were split 50-50. Sundays were my day off, and twice a week, my husband took me out, sometimes for dinner, sometimes just a long walk, but always with intention, always with care. We were partners. What my son took from our life was a romanticized snapshot. What he gave his wife was a life of imbalance, exhaustion, and loneliness. She had been a business owner. He convinced her to sell it, saying motherhood would be simpler, sweeter, happier. She followed his vision. She trusted him. And then he left her to drown in it. 3 children under the age of 4. A home to run. No date nights. No gratitude. Just the expectation that she smile and survive. I saw it. When I visited last, I saw it in her eyes. So he gave her that spa weekend to breathe, to reset, and he took it away for drinks. That's what led me here, to the bar, to the confrontation. He was sitting with a group of friends. Laughter, beer, that careless ease that only comes when you have no responsibilities pulling at your sleeve. I sat beside him and asked, "Did I fail you as a mother? Or was it your father? Because we both taught you that your partner comes before your silly drunk friends." He tried to brush it off, said his wife was fine with it, that they hardly see David since college. I stared at my son and said, "Your wife is on her way to a spa. I have your children, who I hope you'll pick up tomorrow, assuming you sober up. But I doubt it, because from what I've heard, you're failing as a father and as a husband. Would you be okay if someone treated your sister the way you treat your wife?" That's when one of his friends leaned in and tried to play mediator. "Mrs." "Ah," he said, "you're yelling, making a scene. Everything sounds fine. Just let him be. We never get to see each other." And I looked that man in the eyes and said, "You have wives, partners, people you respect. That's why you don't understand this. So please, kindly, back off." Then my son raised his voice, told me to leave, said the staff wanted me gone, that their table had too many people, that everyone was watching. I stood up, looked at him one last time and said, "I expected better. But you're a wolf in sheep's clothing. I hope she divorces you." And then I left. Yes, I was banned from the bar. Apparently yelling at my own son in public for being a negligent husband and father counts as harassment. But if that's what it takes to be heard, fine. I'll take the ban. Because when I got home that night, I tucked my grandbabies into bed. 3 little faces, soft with sleep. And all I could think was, what kind of man leaves this for a pint? The next morning, my daughter-in-law texted. She was coming back from the spa and would be staying with her parents for a while. She needed space. Time to think. My son, of course, called me. Furious. He said I humiliated him. Said I stuck my nose in where it didn't belong. That I overstepped. Maybe I did. But then again, maybe I didn't. Because I didn't go looking to destroy his marriage. I went to salvage a woman who was silently breaking under the weight of it. Let me tell you something. I'm not heartbroken because people are judging me. I'm heartbroken because so many people are shocked that I cared, that I didn't ignore what I saw, that I spoke up. This isn't a story about mother versus son. This is a story about accountability, about seeing someone you love becoming the kind of person you fought your whole life not to raise, and still choosing to love them enough to call them out. I didn't scream in that bar to be dramatic. I screamed because my voice was the only thing loud enough to shake him awake. Because love isn't silence. Love isn't enabling. Love is telling the truth when it hurts. And if that truth costs me my son's approval, then so be it. Because someday, those children will grow up. And they will ask how their parents treated each other. And they will ask who helped. And when they do, I want them to know I was not silent. So, am I the asshole? This story isn't just about a confrontation in a bar. It's about the courage to break generational silence. It's about a woman who saw something wrong and chose to speak, even when it was messy, even when it was personal. Because sometimes love isn't soft. Sometimes love is sharp. And it shows up in uncomfortable places, in tears, in truths, and yes, even in public scenes that end with you getting kicked out of a bar. What we witnessed here is rare. A mother who held her son accountable without abandoning him. A mother-in-law who stood beside her daughter-in-law, not because she had to, but because she knew what dignity looks like, and she refused to let it be erased. There's a lesson in that for all of us. If we raise our children to be good partners, we must also raise them to be good humans. And when they fail at either, our job isn't over. It just changes. So tonight, ask yourself, would you have spoken up? Would you have stayed silent? Or would you have done what this woman did and chosen justice over comfort? Let us know what you would have done in the comments. This is AITA Story Vault. And sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is refuse to look away.